Welcome to the Bougie Black Brother Network.
Good afternoon and welcome to Black in a Tesla. I'm Michael, your bougie black brother, and I'm here with my wife, Alicia.
Hello.
So, yes, this is our new podcast, video podcast / podcast.
YouTube channel.
YouTube, blah, 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 all of that. So, we got a Tesla. So if you didn't know, we have a Tesla. So
black in a Tesla.
We're black people in a Tesla.
Yes.
In a black Tesla.
Yes.
With interior black Tesla. And as you can see, I'm showing you right here, this is our car. This is, what do we call it?
T'Challa.
T'Challa. It's the Black Panther. That's what our car is. But it's highlighted in red, as you can see. And we'll show you some things.
Of course, I came up with the name.
She came up with T'Challa. Most of the time, it's a woman, but she said I was going to be a man this time. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
So, we knew really not too much about electric cars because we was looking at hybrids before.
Yes, we were.
Because we were Lexus people.
Yeah, Lexus had a hybrid, and we was like looking at
it.
And there was no other car we was looking at, but it was just exciting because we heard about the the other electric car, the Chevrolet, the Bolt,
the Chevy Bolt,
Bolt, and
then the Toyota Prius.
Yeah, the Toyota Prius.
It was the ugliest cars in the world.
And the Leaf.
Yeah, and the Leaf. And so we was kind of like, I'm not doing this.
No, we see that they didn't have, at least the Lexus, they didn't have no power to it. We test drive it.
And that was a hybrid though.
Yes.
Remember, those were hybrids.
Yes.
So we didn't have any big deal on getting an electric car. I wanted a hybrid because my distance back and forth to work was between 50 and 70 miles, which was killing me on gas. So I was talking about a hybrid. But Alicia had a conversation with our granddaughter.
Yes.
And why don't you get into that?
Well, talking to my granddaughter, Dyer, and she was saying she has a friend named Tesla, and so she found out there are Teslas out there, and she did all this research on the Tesla, and she was driving from, I think it was Tennessee or Kentucky to Atlanta, and she saw this white man coming out of a Tesla, and then she said the word that killed me. She said only white men drove Tesla, and that I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. I'm gonna call Tesla, and I'm gonna make an appointment for us to test drive a Tesla. And so for her to see that not only does black people drive it, but women drive it too.
Yep.
So I made an appointment with Hannah at the Tesla, I think in Decatur, Atlanta.
Yeah.
And so we test drive the X, and her and my granddaughter were just going back and forth with all the information, the knowledge and everything. And as I was driving it, I was freaking out. It was an amazing drive, amazing car. And she was like, she was showing me where it was autopilot at that time too. And I was like, oh, this is fucking cool. I was like, oh my God. So after that, I came home and I said, Michael, babe, you need to test drive the Tesla.
And I was like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
When we get an opportunity, we'll just go drive it.
Yeah. And then he finally told me, he did some, I think at this point you did a lot of research.
So I started looking at some things, and it was almost before the new release of the Model 3. It was talk about the Model 3. So this is like 2.5 years ago. So maybe 3 now, but I was kind of like, maybe we'll buy a used one because I was kind of safe, but I need to drive it because in my mind, I only thought about a hybrid and how much power that the hybrid did, because what we found out is you have a battery and then you got a 4-cylinder engine, so you're never going to get any power if it's aligned together. But they said you get more power when it's straight battery, and I was like, yeah, whatever. So when we went there,
Hannah
approached us. She said, well, we don't have an X right now. Why not drive the S? which was the bigger sedan. And I was like, yeah, that's the one I was looking at. So we get in and you see the big screen in the middle.
She broke it down. She basically shows us how the door handles work, where to charge the car at. I mean, Michael basically walked around the car, and she basically gave so much details of the car, just walking around the car and explaining to him before he actually got into the car.
Which was excellent.
Yeah. So, I mean, she gave us as much detail as possible about the car, just because we didn't, I mean, I knew about it, but he didn't know.
And I needed to know a little more. Because if you're looking at a basic car and now you're getting into an electric car, again, the stigma of electric cars are like terrible. Mm-hmm. So if it's terrible, you're going to have to really impress me. If not, I'm going to have to wind up buying a hybrid.
Just like everybody else, you get this impression that you still got to put gas in the car.
Yeah,
and that was something that when I did the test drive the X, that's when I realized, wow, this is just amazing.
Without gas.
Yes, without gas. And, you know, and I can't. It was just when she was explaining everything to me, I was just blown away by so much stuff that was going on in the car that I can't remember everything.
Yeah, because
it was just so exciting driving it.
You know, when you see the S is totally different than the X. So when you see the X, you see it's almost like a van, but / SUV. But then when you see the X, you see like an LS, or you see like an Acura, or you see one of those European looks. It has that streamlined look. So that's what's impressive with me, because that's the kind of guy I am. I love a luxury sedan.
Yeah.
Because that's what we were buying from Lexus. So now I get into the car and I'm like, yo, this is pretty cool. I'm driving. I said, but how fast it goes? She said, step on it. I stepped on the gas and this thing took off. I was like, whoa. She's like, you get immediate torque. And I was sold. I was like, whoa, this is what we want. Because, you know, we had the ES, we had the SC, we had the IS, we had the LS, we had all of the RX. But these cars had great maneuverability, it had speed, and you was relaxed. So when you're looking at that, I'm kind of like, oh, this is pretty aligned in what we want. So I started doing more research. And Alicia did research, because what was your main reason why you wanted to get it?
The fact that I had to put gas in the car. That was just one thing, because, you know, having a car, you got to put gas. Everybody's trying to find the cheapest gas. Yeah. That's just the main thing.
You can pass your house.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always on the internet or on my phone looking for cheap gas.
Gas Buddy.
Yep. And my husband would go to Kroger, get the gift card, you got to put, to get the 10% off, and then use the gift card to get the gas cheaper. And so it was just a lot to try to save as much money as possible.
Then you waited in line.
Yeah, that's true too. And the thing is that, I was like, okay. And then Michael did more research.
So on my level, I saw that the amount of savings that I would have, because I calculated every week how much gas I put in, on a monthly basis how much I spent, and then on a yearly basis how much I spent. And then I looked at the maintenance for the Lexus.
Oil changes.
The oil changes. Alignments.
Yeah.
You always got the alignments in it, because you don't get away from that, and you don't get away from the brakes. But the coolant and all these checks. And if you go to your regular Legacy, they have a checklist this long. You know, you have a checklist that has check this, check this, check this, check this, check this. And the Tesla has one this. And most of that is, you don't see that in 2 years. You won't see that in 5 years. And this is the life of the car. Everything else, just get your brakes in a couple of years. Check your fluid.
Yeah, check your fluid.
Check tires. The tires is a thing.
That's a thing.
Tires is a thing.
Tires is another thing.
So I went toward the savings, and I found that, and if you search on the internet, a lot of people say that the cost to own in 5 years, if you finance it, will probably come down to half the price that you pay for it. And I looked at that, and I told Alicia, I said, look, I may be paying a little more right now, but I'm paying less if we had an ICE car, internal combustible engine.
You'd be paying less if you had an ICE car?
I would be paying less if I had an electric car besides a
A nice
ice
car.
car.
Okay.
Thanks for the correction.
Yes, I don't want them people cut.
Nope, that's not what I meant. So she corrected me. So no, so that's why we did it, and that's why we bought the car. So, and as we transition from that, why are we doing this podcast? Why are we doing this video podcast? So it was a scenario that Leisha ran into that got me a lot more thinking about, most of our podcasts is about education.
Yeah.
We educate people on movies, music,
Yeah.
politics,
Yes.
different little things. It's about educating people.
Yeah, because I was at the food store at Sprouts, and I'm just running there real quick. I ain't dressed fancy, just have on my sweats, sneakers, and slippers, or something like that. And there was two black women, just standing in front of my car, standing in front of the Lexus, and they was like, "Man, who car is this? Did you know there's a white person or a black person driving it?" Sorry, it was a Tesla. So
those we making our corrections.
Yes. So when I came out, I was like, this is my car. And it's like, man, we love Tesla. And, I know it's really expensive. So it's like, I was like, no, it's not. And then I gave them a tour of the Model 3 because at that time, I think it just came out. Everybody was rushing to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
And so I showed them the car, and they were just blown away. And they would just say, well, black in a Tesla. And that was it. And then more black people started approaching me, young men, teenagers. And they were all approaching me about the Tesla and asking me questions about it. And, how much did it cost? Was it that expensive?
What does it do?
Yes.
Where do you put the gas at?
Exactly. So I just told Michael, I said, I think that we should create a podcast and just basically let people know that, yes, black people do buy Teslas. And
I ran into
and very
it.
well educated once you buy it.
So I ran into the same thing, but I didn't notice it until Alicia said, I'm really getting people to start asking me questions. And I was like, yeah, they kind of ask, but I didn't realize the level of detail that I was giving them when they was asking me. So what about this? So what about that? And I was like, no, it doesn't do that. No. And I was realizing that we started to be committed to the actual Tesla brand. We were committing ourselves to the brand. And if you don't know, Tesla gets their advertising from people like us.
Yes, they do.
We tell other people. We promote the brand. And like Leisha knows, I do stock. So I wanted to be actually an owner. If I'm an owner of the stock, I'm an owner of the company, and I have the vehicle, I don't feel bad about talking about the car, and I want more people to buy the car because it'll raise my stock up. So I really want that to happen. But Leisha drove that to me and said, if we're going to continue to educate people on all types of things, black people need to understand this is not a privileged car. Mm-hmm. You can get this if you manage. And a lot of times it's about managing your expenses, and especially people who drive more than 50 miles a day.
Yeah, because Michael had to explain to me, because when he told me that he was going to get one, I was like, my face just cringed, and he's seen it, and he's like, okay, let me show you the numbers. And when he showed me the numbers, I basically totally understood how we could actually afford to get it. Mm-hmm. And that blew me away alone, because he calculated the fact that how much gas he puts in the car a month, plus the payment he was making on the Lexus. Mm-hmm. And then when he calculated that, he said it's a cost savings. And once he told me that, I was like, hey, babe, you got it. As long as you showed me the numbers and it's good, then we good to go.
And most people don't go that far, because they want a BMW that's $50,000, $60,000 and knowing they got to pay $1,000 a month. Mm-hmm. But they're not looking at the additional expenses for maintenance and gas, oil changes, and the cost of all of that. They're not looking at none of that. They're saying, I have to pay for the car. Where a Tesla, you're paying for the car and the maintenance is almost non-existent unless it's a tire or minimal. And that's what you have. And you don't stop. I tell everybody, when you're driving, you see a gas station, you say, how much gas do I have? Do I have to stop? We don't have to do that. We can keep going. But with that said, that's where we're going. We're going to talk about the accessories we put on the car, because the one thing me and Alicia talked about is this is similar to the first iPhone.
Yes.
The iPhone came out, it disrupted the industry,
Yeah.
and people had to start saying, I guess I got to deal with it.
Yeah.
And then all the accessory people started making things
Yeah.
for the iPhone.
Yeah.
That's what they're doing for Tesla.
Yeah.
So to make your Tesla unique, there's things that you put on there to make your Tesla unique.
Yeah.
So we're going to go through a lot of that. We're going to go through a lot of things that are our experiences with the car, a road trip that we're planning, and all different things from that. So we're going to go through numerous amount of things, and we want you to run with us and enjoy our life with Tesla, because we love the car. There's nothing. There's
an amazing car.
Amazing car. We had convertibles that we loved.
Yeah.
I had to give up a convertible because my next car was going to be an SC430, and I said, ain't no other car. Before I get anything else, it has to be an SC430. I had to throw that away because I got this Model 3.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's our life, being black in the Tesla.
So you can follow us on Facebook, Black in the Tesla.
Yep.
On Twitter, Black in the Tesla.
Yep.
And on
Instagram.
Instagram, Black in the Tesla.
Yep.
So I hope that you enjoy our YouTube video, our podcast, or however Michael's going to convert this over.
Yep.
And just follow us, because this is going to be fun.
There's just things that we loving the experience for. That this is an experience to have this car. There's so many haters out there. And, I got people at my job saying, well, what's going to happen when your car goes out of business? So I'm just going to have to live with it. I'm good with it.
Or catch on fire.
Or if your car catch on fire, I say, what's going to happen when your goddamn car catch on fire? Well, there's people sleeping in cars. I said, what happens when regular people sleep in car and kill people? At least I can sleep in my car and don't get in an accident. How about that?
Oh my God.
There's all these things that we get it in. But follow us. We'll enjoy any of your comments and questions. We'll love for them to get that. But other than that, we thank you very much, and we'll see you next time on Black in a Tesla. See ya!